Well, we got a voicemail that came in yesterday, and we'd like to play that for you right now.
Hi, Pastor Adriel and Bill. Thank you for what you all do at Core Christianity. I'm a longtime listener, and not to discuss the Nashville tragedy that happened, my question is regarding the shooter's parents and the shooter's family. I think about what they have to endure and what they're going through. I pray for them that God will just help them through this and that they won't be stigmatized, because in America, it's easy to stigmatize someone who happens to be related to a person that would do this terrible act. Yeah, how can we be there for them? I appreciate everything y'all are doing, and God bless you all.
Yeah, thank you for that encouragement and excellent question. I mean, obviously, certainly prayer. And let me say something. One of the things I've noticed in the last day or so is, and not just with this instance, but anytime you have something like this, isn't there the temptation that we all have to blame someone? You've even been seeing, and this is horrible, but in media, in some places, I've seen blame laid at the feet of the church. In other words, it's the church's fault, it's Christians' fault that this happened because of their beliefs about transgenderism or whatever. But I mean, what a horrible thing! What an outrageous thing! Frankly, it seems like people recognize how wrong it is, how evil it is to blame victims, unless those victims at times are believers in Jesus Christ, even little children. And so it just shows you how twisted things are. And we have to fight against the temptation to point the finger and say, you mentioned the parents, it's their fault, or it's the church's fault, or it's no, we have to be careful. But we look ultimately at the individual who committed these heinous crimes, and we lament those things. But we just have to be so careful. And it's not even just with stuff like this. It's anytime there's a tragic event, even in our own lives. I mean, I think it's easy for us to want to try to dig deep and to say, well, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that, or this is my fault in some way. And we just have to take a step back and be really careful with that. And so I think we want to be cautious there, and I think we ought to pray. Obviously, I imagine that the family, I haven't read anything about this, but I imagine that the family is absolutely horrified and devastated, and that this is a crushing thing for them. And so praying for them as well, certainly, praying that somehow the light of the Lord would shine through and penetrate through the darkness for them, as well as we pray that for so many others, especially those families of the victims during this time. And so appreciate your question, and even you bringing that up, and God help us to act wisely and to respond properly to these kinds of tragic events.